Here's one towards the goal. That's going to be gloved by Travis Ridgen. Well, this is more like it.
This is Slangin The Bizkit. Here's Travis Ridgen and Dave Wheeler.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Slangin The Bizkit. My name is Travis Ridgen. I am your favorite former professional hockey goaltender, current Steve Madden shoe model. The man across from me is built like a house. He's hung like a mouse. His wife is the hottest girl in town. He's got a key to the city also known as Vegas of the North for locals. That's Winnipeg. Welcome to the show.
You got enough fuel there? Are y'all fueled up?
I'm down one already.
Full disclosure, I had 2 decafs before we came into the studio today.
You had one. You had the latte.
1.5, but it was still a decaf, and I'm still jittery from the decaf. I don't know how you function. Like, you'll be up for hours.
The body adapts. It's crazy how adaptable the human body is, though. Like, if you're just drinking like Slurpees and Dr. Pepper, your body will adapt to that. If you're having just like meats and no carbs, your body will adapt to that. You're just drinking coffee, it adapts. It's functional.
Yeah, we'll see how long it takes for you to take a pee break.
Probably have to cut this 15 minutes in for a whiz break. And then as we cycle through the coffees, we'll keep going. But hey, welcome back to the show. Thanks for everybody that tuned in last week. Super successful episode. And we're happy to be with you to start off, well, I guess the end of your January, starting in February.
Yeah,
you're listening.
And thank God. I mean, listen, I will say this with all of the prayer in my heart for those that were in peril along the north part of the Gulf of Mexico. But as somebody who has dealt with frigid temperatures his entire life, growing up in Fort McMurray, living in Lloydminster, living in Winnipeg for 20 years plus, when we dip down to minus 50 and we get a ton of snow, I giggle a little bit when I see places like Florida and Texas and Louisiana getting 8 inches of snow, because they're not equipped for it, man. Like, it was so funny. They're like, prepare for the snow. How? How am I supposed? I don't have a shovel. I have sandals and another pair of flip-flops. How do I prepare for this? So I totally get it when they're like, prepare everyone. How? I don't understand how they're supposed to prepare for that. They don't have graders. It's kind of like when Vancouver gets snow. They don't know what to do. But in Louisiana, it's even more rare. So my heart goes out to them, but it is a little funny to see how they react to that. That'd be the equivalent of Winnipeg saying, prepare for a volcano.
Prepare for the Ice Age.
What? How am I preparing for a volcano in Winnipeg? No!
You see the people in New Orleans, in the streets of downtown New Orleans. It got so cold, the water froze. They're playing street hockey.
God love them.
Isn't that awesome?
God love them.
I saw some video too of Pensacola, Florida. I've been down there, right by the coast. Beautiful spot, covered in snow. It was weird to see. Beautiful spot to see a sunrise, good weather, but it's cool to see with a little bit of snow. Also, shout out to the people of Biloxi, Mississippi.
Were they wearing Baton Rouge jerseys when they were playing outdoor hockey?
No.
At least they had sticks.
They're probably naked.
At least they had sticks. Good for them.
Skinny, David. But thoughts and prayers to the people down there. They probably had to call in the military. I mean, it's still not as bad as what happened in L.A. with the wildfires, but
man, just the whole southern part of the U.S. Just
San Diego's on fire now too. Do you see that too?
Well, yeah, I was really curious because I know in La Quinta, California is where they're having the PGA event there right now. So I don't know how close it's getting to that because I know that's in San Diego. But yeah, man, just the whole southern part of the U.S. taking they're in the weeds right now.
Yeah. Do you see that Logan Paul news about the wildfires?
Man.
He's such a... I want to be careful what I say because he might turn around and sue us, but so Logan Paul decided he was going to drive around his Prime truck all throughout L.A., and anybody that had their house burnt down, he's going to get him some Prime. Imagine this. You have your home burned down. It's the worst day of your life. You lost all the childhood pictures of your kids, and then you got to drink that shit.
Okay, here's the thing. The idea of it wasn't a terrible one. Hey, guys, we got some extra product. Let's go float it around. But the second they go, let's make sure we get it on film, then...
And make sure you're holding the Prime right here. I drink Prime.
Yeah.
My house burnt down.
When my house burns down, I choose Prime.
And that's he's crying.
And that's exactly it. And I've been part of an industry where, you know, like look, it's called ambulance chasing, for lack of a better term, where you're looking for the victim so you can help and look like the hero, right? Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of victims down there right now, and I don't think it's the time to be, you know, pinning medals on heroes right now. Like, if you want to go out and do that stuff out of the goodness of your heart, absolutely. And it actually reminds me of a comment that rolled in on one of our videos regarding Sidney Crosby. Mm-hmm. And he goes out and he visits a lot of hospitals, children's hospitals, and he does it without the cameras. I've worked with a lot of radio people who have said, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to do cameras. I remember having a government official say to me, like, hey, we need to work on your we need to work on your image right now. If you can go do something and make sure the cameras are there. And I said, I do stuff like that all the time, but I don't ask for the cameras. Like, I just do it because it needs to be done. I do it because that person needs help. It's not like, look, everyone, look how amazing I am. And going back to the Sidney Crosby thing, I think that's one of the things that makes him special is because he is willing to do that stuff and not get the validation for it.
It's genuine. It's authentic.
Right.
But going to help some old lady snowblow her driveway. And let's get the cameras here real quick. Everybody wave as you're the Premier of Ontario and you just shoveled 6 Tim Hortons breakfast sandwiches in your face before you did this. That's not genuine.
Right. Yeah, it seemed a little opportunistic for Prime Energy drink, and yeah, honestly, I might drink that stuff if you paid me, but even then, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we got some sad news. Let's kick off the show. We talked about it last week. I generally am bothered by this because I feel bad for him. I think he's just such a good goaltender. But Kasimir Kaskisuo released from the ECHL Norfolk Admirals. He played in Laval last season, did great, .915, .920 save percentage, played fantastic. Held out for the summer. I want to get an American League only deal. Didn't get it. Ends up sitting till, just shy of the new year, I think. And then I think his time in Norfolk may actually have been shorter than my time in Port Huron, which is hard to believe.
Yeah.
But played one game, didn't do great. But we were talking about this over coffee before we started recording. It's Coffees, sorry. Thanks, Dave. But it's so hard, though, and you have to feel for him. Yes, he's played 2 NHL games, draft pick, one of the best goaltenders to ever play in NCAA history. He's fantastic. All pro goalies are great. But when you sit at home on the couch for God knows how many months, you can only rent so much outdoor ice, skate in so many backyards, do so many training sessions by yourself, be up to snuff. And then when it comes time for game time, you're just not there. It's very difficult to do, and especially when you're coming on a PTO like him. Now, I'd be curious to have him in this chair and ask him, what did you do last year in Laval where he came in, set the world on fire and did very well, to this time where, and if you saw the highlights, he didn't look great. He didn't look in control, squeaky goals through the arm.
He was rusty.
Of course.
Yeah.
But you're not afforded that opportunity. You need to come in and perform day one. Pro hockey is ruthless, and to go from playing 48, 50 games in the SHL, being the starter, to playing in the American League, to being released in the ECHL. I hope he gets an opportunity because he's a great goaltender. I really enjoy watching him because he's nasty, and there's things for me to pick up. I know I'm not playing as much anymore, but I really hope that
this is a cautionary tale where it's the old "What have you done for me lately?" And I understand he held himself to a very high standard. I get it, as you should. You absolutely should. But you also got to take the work when you can get it, and it shows what happens when, like you said, you can practice all you want. You can use all of the practice time, but you're not game ready unless you're playing games. And because of his age and because of his tenure and because of his stats, they got him on a very short leash, and they've got someone else waiting to go. And like you said, if you can't perform, what have you done for me lately? Okay, see you later. And they're not going to shed a tear watching him walk out. Now, it's unfortunate. I think he's going to come to the realization a little too late that, hey, maybe I should have looked over back in Scandinavia. Maybe I should have looked and gotten a gig earlier in the East Coast League. Maybe things would have worked out better, but to sit there and play the I woulda, shoulda, coulda game is not going to do him any good. It's unfortunate. It sucks, like you said. I think there are still offers on the table for him to play elsewhere, but I think sometimes a lot of players get into a situation where the family piece of the pie outweighs the rest of it, and that brings in a lot of decision making where it's, am I going to be a professional goaltender or am I going to be a family man? And that's a tough decision to make. But if you're going to be a goalie, if you're going to be a professional hockey player, then the family has to come, not necessarily second, but there's a 1A and 1B. And it's like, hockey continues, you come with.
Can I make a slight criticism? One thing that I've learned over the last couple of years is what you say and what you believe, even jokingly, will become true. So you'll notice with the videos that I've made the last couple of years, there is no more Trav Sucks promo code because I'm not even going to say those words because it's going to plant the negative seed in my mind. And everybody around me that I affiliate with is my biggest cheerleaders because I want people that are going to support me and work with me towards a goal, whether it's getting this podcast to do well, whether it's putting on some size in the gym, doing well as a goaltender, training mixed martial arts, anything I do, I want to be around people that are going to help me contribute towards the goals. Right? There's no sense having somebody dragging dead weight. Your family should be the biggest advocate for that. And again, I don't know him. I never met him. I would love to have him come down in the studio. I know we talked about it before. When I see his wife posting these Instagram reels where she's like poking fun at, I came to watch my husband and he was riding the pine. My husband got released. It was a short trip. He was only here from January 25 to January 25. Like, I just think to myself, she should be his biggest cheerleader. I love my husband. I'm excited to go see him play. Not, well, I got forced to go watch him play this weekend, or, oh, he's riding the pine again. It comes across very selfish, and I feel for him because I've been in that situation where I'm getting dished from Watertown, Motor City, Mississippi. I've been around the world doing this, not at the same level as him, but it's hard if you don't have that support system. And if your wife, your family is not your biggest advocate, biggest cheerleader, it's going to make it really, really difficult. And I hope that she should be advocating for him and supporting him and putting no negative seeds of doubt in his mind.
Well, I think she is supporting. She's just doing it in a non-traditional way, where she's kind of pointing out, saying like, hey, my husband's better than this, and he deserves better than this, and he shouldn't be on the bench. And she's kind of putting her foot down. And hey,
it's not her place to do that, though.
Well, it's not for us to say. It's not for us to say. Their dynamic works in different ways. Like, look, you can look at Sharon Osbourne and Ozzy Osbourne. Mm-hmm. I mean, without Sharon, there is no Ozzy. Mm-hmm. She was the engine driving that force. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times, you need a buffer. You need a hype man or hype woman, and I think she's kind of doing it. And the way she goes about it is on her.
Well, let me be the one hype man out there, dude. It sucks. It's the business. I'm sure that it's just water off a duck's back. Is a duck's ass watertight, of course. And he's just going to let it move on and on to the next opportunity. Stay positive, better days ahead, and just keep working.
Always got to remember, it's show business, not show friends.
And there's nobody more ruthless than a general manager making cuts on a Monday morning, or I guess Tuesday afternoon.
Like a case. Bill Ranford.
Bill Ranford. We got some Oilers news. So for those that don't know, the Oilers have a little bit of a goaltending problem. They recently addressed it. They signed John Klingberg to a 1-year deal, fresh off hip surgery. John came down to the Oilers, and then they realized upon him reporting, oh, wait, we did not solve the goaltending problem by adding this new defenseman. They still have a goaltending problem. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the addition?
Well, I mean, the best thing you can do to protect your house is put more fences in front of it, right?
What if the foundation's shit?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, we had this conversation before, and the Oilers have always had this idea of as long as we score more than the other team, then we're going to win. Doesn't matter if that has to be 10 goals. As long as we put in 10 and they put in 9, we will win. So I think they've tried. I think Pickard is chomping at the bit, wanting to string some games together to show what he can do. And I don't think he's going to get that opportunity. Mm-hmm. I think Skinner is going to be there. They're going to ride him all the way through. He's going to, and I think they're going to run into the playoffs again and find out that they may have ridden him a little bit too hard.
Well, you have so many goalies in the league that just don't make mistakes. And when you have a guy like Stuart Skinner, where when I watch his game, he's a great goalie, don't get me wrong. In the grand scheme of things, he's a top 64 goalie. They're all elite level athletes. But you're playing in a game where you're competing against goaltenders who just do not make mistakes at all. And when we're talking about Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final, Bob's at the other end. That guy does not make mistakes. You're lucky when he had the one-off game, and I think it was Game 6 when they shelled him for 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. But then you have Stuart Skinner where he's fumbling the puck behind the net. They're burying off his head from behind the net. Like he's just making these small mistakes where if you want to win a cup, it's not good enough. Mm. I'm amazed they haven't addressed the goaltending situation, but they seem sold on him. Listen, great mustache, great haircut, feed a family of 5 with that thing, that new commercial that he had with California Closets, the new pocket watch, the coat. Guy's stylish. The guy probably kills it on a Saturday night. I think he's actually married, but who knows? I think they should fix the goaltending situation. But
yeah, no, look, they haven't had a shortage of great goaltenders over the years, and even the ones that were maybe didn't have the best save percentage or didn't have the best goals against average had a great winning percentage.
Grand Fear.
Yep.
Grand Fear goaltending. Just don't give up more than them.
Bingo.
But we're not in the 80s anymore, and that time has shifted. We're getting closer towards it with how, and I know we talked about this the other week. I find it so fascinating. Statistically, the NHL goaltending has not been this bad probably in 20 or 25 years. We're talking every division in NHL having a sub 900 save percentage, which is terrible. 800 does not cut it at the National League level. But when you look at it objectively with your eyes and you watch these goaltenders, they've never been better. They've never moved better. They've never been more efficient. They're just so good, but the game is getting so fast, and it's that cat-mouse game of the players are finally catching up.
Well, look, you remember, what was it, 20 years ago? Not even that long ago, 10, 15 years ago? At the NHL general meetings in the summer, they floated around the idea of like, what if we make the nets bigger? We got to increase scoring. Scoring is what gets eyeballs. Scoring is what gets people in the seats. People want excitement. They don't want 0-0 shutouts. We'll leave that for footy over in Europe. Mm-hmm. And they actually considered, they said, well, no, if we do that, then we'll have to put an asterisk next to any goal records because the nets were bigger, they were smaller, and there was a huge conversation about how do we increase scoring? Do we make the goaltender gear smaller?
Which they did.
They did, and they came up with a bunch of things, and eventually the style of play caught up to the good goaltenders. and it'll come full circle again, where the goaltenders will just be better than the players, and it's back and forth, and it's been that way since the inception of the game. You just got to wait. You just got to wait. We will get back to a time where we'll have that conversation again. Should we make the nets bigger? How do we increase scoring? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think we're at a happy medium right now. Like you said, the goaltenders are incredible. The players are incredible. We're getting decent goal scoring. We're getting decent scores. I mean, it's very rare that you find a 0-0 going into overtime game. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So there is scoring in almost every game. So I think they got to be pretty happy with what they got right now.
The Rangers had one the other night, 1-0 game. I think Caps and Rangers, or maybe the Senators and Rangers.
Well, the
shootout.
Oilers got LA a couple of weeks ago too. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but they're a lot more rare than they were back in the day.
It'd be interesting to see the game to go back towards that when the goaltending is above the players, but we're kind of on a downward trajectory towards that. But like you said, more goals, game is more exciting. I think the Avalanche, they made a great pickup in Blackwood. That'll be a big game breaker come playoff time. They needed a guy. Before they traded for Blackwood, statistically, the Avalanche had the worst goaltending any NHL team had seen since the 92 Ottawa Senators.
Wow.
And now they fixed that with Blackwood. I like that. Avalanche Jets, I don't know if they can go to the conference final because they're in the same division, but I like that second round matchup.
Well,
I like that a lot.
The Jets owe them a do-over, that's for sure, because speaking of letting in a lot of goals, that first game that the Jets won, where they win 8-6 in game one. Yep. It was the only one they won in the series. So
last year.
And the Jets have absolutely dominated the Avalanche this year, including that overtime winner with Pionk. What a rocket.
What a bomb.
Beauty goal he scored in overtime, 17 seconds in. But I think the Jets have had that Avalanche logo at the top of their to-do list and are looking forward to that matchup.
Half clapper from right above the circle. Let's get in the plane and go to Earls at 300 Main, fellas. Come on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
No, that was a beauty.
That was a Saturday night, too. No, that was a Tuesday night.
That was a Wednesday night game, and the Flames are in Winnipeg this afternoon. 5 o'clock puck drop this afternoon. If you're watching this on the Sunday, the day of release, yeah, they're playing here. Hopefully, getting some revenge on them too, because Saddle Dome or the Flames beat them here 2 weeks ago. So funny doing math when we pre-record shows a couple days early. Yeah. But yeah, they. I thought it was rather strange to do a marketing night where they called it Cowboy Night when the visiting team was from Calgary. Mm-hmm. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, like, why are you encouraging people to dress up the way the opposing team does?
Yeah, you saw those ads. They were filmed on like an iPhone. I didn't like that.
Yeah,
you guys got a big budget. We're the big cameras, the good mics. They filmed with the audio on the iPhone, whatever they were using, which I wasn't a fan. But hey,
well, can I tell you why? Yep. I think the reason why is they
want grassroots. They want it to be organic.
Right. So when you're flipping through and you're scrolling through and you're thumbing your way through your social media, if you see something that looks really slick and really well done, your brain automatically goes advertisement. Mm-hmm. So make it look like it's done a little more homemade and it's less likely to be skipped.
Who cares? Overtime win, 11 p.m. Plane lands by 1. You're at a Rolls by 2 right before they close. Man, that's the greatest third line in hockey. I'm loving that. But hey, if you're going to go to Earl's Main at 2 a.m., place is buzzing. You got to stay calm, cool, and collected. That's why you need our presenting sponsor, the team at Sheath Underwear. They've been with us since day one. They're American-made, based out of Denver, Colorado. The guy behind it, Robert, he is a beauty, former member of the U.S. military, and here's why you need a pair of Sheath Underwear. Their bamboo mesh is cooling. They're new and improved. It's calming. It's cooling. It's nothing more comfortable out there in the game. And the dual pouch, it separates your dick and your balls. They don't stick to the side of your leg. There's nothing worse than peeling a piece of gum off from under the bench. Don't do that no more. Put everything where it should be. No more musky, no more stinky, no more sweaty. It's gross. Fix it with Sheath Underwear. And if you're still on the fence, let's make it even easier. We're going to get you 20% off all Sheath Underwear purchases that you're going to make. You're going to use the code BIZKIT69, BIZKIT 69 for 20% off. The greatest investment you will ever make. Also makes the shrimp and boat look bigger. Imagine the missus comes home, boat's looking bigger. We're all revved up. Let's go.
When are we getting the official Slangin The Bizkit design on those Sheath Underwear? Is that happening?
It's just your face on the pouch.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Let's go.
We'll have to give you 25% off to get that one. But speaking of, you want to talk about, and everybody's talking about this one, Connor McChin Chin Chin.
Wow, well, listen, he was a little late to the Christmas party because I thought you were supposed to wrap garland around your wood, not put your wood around garland.
Ooh, I like that one. I like that one.
I put that on our Twitter page, by the way. By the way, we're on Twitter.
And Rumble.
We're on Twitter and Rumble.
In case we get canceled.
New platforms. Yeah. Go check them out. There's everything's there.
There's a link in the description, but carry on with your garland in the wood.
Yeah, well, look. I had no problem whatsoever watching those two dudes battle it out. Both refs, both officials had their eye on it. They go, okay, those are two superstars. Those are two guys grinding, going hard at each other. Good. Let them go. Nothing's too crazy happening. But then Connor McDavid for whatever reason, had a lapse of judgment and thought, no. I'm Connor McDavid. You're not. I don't care who you are. You're not allowed to do that to me. And decided to let his stick do the talking. Mm-hmm. And man, what a dangerous play. And since that happened, I've been seeing a lot more clips pop up online of how careless these quote-unquote greatest player in the game right now, how careless he can be with his stick. He's been getting away with a lot. A lot of my friends who are diehard Oiler fans have been saying, 3 games is too much. He's a first-time offender. I don't know. If you give him 1 game, then you're running into a Patrick Mahomes situation in the National Football League, where the Kansas City Chiefs for a couple years now, and it's really starting to come to a head, where they've been criticized of getting some favorable calls, and that's where the whole idea of, the
NFL's rigged.
Right, that's where that whole conversation comes up, because
who said that?
There were some very blatant situations in that game against the Texans where you kind of went, okay, and the announcers, I don't care what network they're on, they've all been given their marching orders. Do not criticize the officiating during the game. And you could even hear the announcer, and I can't remember who it was, who said...
Was it Joe Buck or Aikman? Might have been one of the two.
Might have been one of the two. I can't remember. But they said, I think you're right. I think it might have been Aikman who said, I don't know if I agree with that call. He was like, how can I say how disappointed I am in that officiating right there?
I'm only here so I don't get fined.
So going back to the NHL, they have to, when it comes to the Department of Player Safety, that's what it comes down to. Department of Player Safety, not Department of Superstars. Okay? Mm-hmm. This was a player, because you know what? If that's the case, if Connor McDavid can get away with putting his stick around someone's neck, who's to say that some other dude say, he did it? Well, he's Connor McDavid. You're not. Then you start getting into favoritism. No, I think 3 games was sufficient. It sent a message.
What do you think of? I heard this morning on the mainstream news. They're talking about you can't suspend him for 3 games because you're taking the best player out of the game. He puts asses in seats. Fans will be disappointed come the game where he's suspended. What do you think of that?
No. I think if you respect the game and you respect the rules, then you have to respect that judgment. Mm-hmm. And it worked out this time with the schedule. It just so happened that the Oilers were meeting the Canucks again inside of that 3-game suspension. But let's just say it happened in that second game, and the Oilers don't see the Canucks again for how long, and they play 3 games against other teams. Why do those 3 other teams benefit from the loss of Connor McDavid when the Vancouver Canucks should be the one to reap the benefits of that suspension? Mm-hmm. Because they almost lost one of their best players in Connor Garland, and that would have sucked for them. So it worked out, but I think when a suspension like that gets handed out, let's just say it's 3 games, you serve one of them against the next team you're playing, and then the next 2 are against the Vancouver Canucks whenever you play them next.
I like that. It's specific.
It makes sense, right?
I like that a lot, yeah.
Because you not only did you have an infraction against a player, you had an infraction against that team, especially if you would have injured him. And it brings me back to that whole Todd Bertuzzi situation.
Steve Moore?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, sure, he's suspended, but you've just helped out every other team when the Colorado Avalanche should have benefited from that one the most.
That was a little bit different, though.
I know it's different.
He broke his neck.
But it brings me back to that, right? And look, putting your lumber up against someone's neck like that, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, give him a little bit of wood to the chicklets. Mm-hmm. But
and then who was it? Myers right after he got tossed too, because he decided to be like, all right, if we're playing that game, I can do that too, and he decided to get his stick up as well. So he got tossed. Did he get a suspension? I didn't see.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Prison rules. Call your own fouls.
I guess
there are no fouls, by the way.
Yeah, right.
No penalties.
Well, I think the retaliation one, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm comfortable with the suspension. It could have gone 5 if he was a second-time offender, but now he's got a black spot on his record.
Everybody's talking about the chinny chin chin cross-check to the jibs.
Yeah.
There is a positive Connor McDavid story that I came across this afternoon before we started recording the show. I just want to tell everybody about this because I don't think this is getting any publicity from the mainstream media. I know the mainstream media is corrupt. Connor McDavid, they're so fake. I hate the mainstream media. That's why we do this show. But Connor McDavid goes to a cafe in Edmonton, buys, coffee, croissant, spends $20. He tips them $900. Little note, thank you for the service.
Did he bring cameras? Did he go, look, everyone, look, come over here. Look, I just tipped these poor people $900. Did he do that? That's what I like about it. It got around eventually. and it wasn't him calling for it. It was something really nice that he did. Post Malone did something similar. Christmas Eve, he was in Houston for those Netflix games that the NFL did, and he was at just a little dive bar with Shabuzi, who was also helping out Shabuzi, who was helping out Beyonce for her halftime show, and apparently the dive bar took care of their tab. And Posty said, "Listen, can you just bring me a bill for 1 penny? I didn't bring any cash. I'd like to leave a tip." And I think he left. I'm going to get this wrong, but I think it was upwards, not to overshadow what McDavid did, but I think it was upwards of like 10 grand.
Hey man, that's what rich people do. My tip's bigger,
right?
But you gotta love that though. $900 tip, especially in Edmonton.
Great. Yep.
It was some. I think she was like a University of Alberta student. That must have just made her year. $900 for serving coffee. I
think it's amazing. God love him. Did she know it was McDavid? Oh, she must have. She told the story.
Yeah. Somebody was interviewing her or whatever, and she's like, "Yeah, I knew exactly who it was. I was so nervous." Imagine she like dumps the coffee on him. "I'm so sorry, Mr. McDavid. Here's $900 still. Thanks for the burns."
Thanks for not shoving a stir stick into my neck.
Or suing us for $1 million. Nobody told me it was hot. Spilled it on my crotch and balls. Now I'm going to sue you. I love that.
Kramer.
I love the U.S.
Yeah, no, you know what? Good for McDavid. Maybe he's trying to balance out the karma for that cross check. Who knows? Speaking
of the mainstream terrible news, you want to talk about the JT Miller thing? We've left that alone for a couple weeks. I think we should talk about that.
Okay,
they're on this dude.
Yeah,
they're on him every day. Every time I see a clip from the mainstream, the TSNs, the Sportsnet, the whoever, they're just asking him, "What's the problem? You guys have a problem in the locker room? How do you feel about things? Do you think somebody should be traded? Do you think you should be traded?" It's like, dude. If you got some nerdy dude from TSN or Sportsnet and you have the body composition of my spare tire, I don't care what you have to say. Like, just leave me alone. I wouldn't listen to any of them. I find it so annoying.
It is mandatory that they do have to do media scrums, especially when you're wearing a letter. But I think it's always tough when you're struggling because those questions don't come up when you're winning.
Does it not seem like they're trying to make his life more difficult? I know you guys are struggling, a little bit of a hard time. It would be a shame if somebody in the mainstream media like myself was to throw a wedge in there and make your day worse and try to divide the dressing room. It'd be a real shame if I did.
Yeah, man. Well, look, everyone's looking for clicks, right? Everyone's looking for that sound bite. You know, because as we talked before, most athlete interviews are very mechanical. They're very robotic. They're the same answer every time. So you're trying to ask the same question different ways. And now it's like, how can I get a clip? How can I get that viral social media clip? How can I be the one that gets that clip? And you know, I give JT Miller a lot of credit. He's handled it very well thus far.
Yeah.
He really, really has, and he's grinding through it, but I'm sure it's not doing great things for his mental health.
Oh, boy. Well, we talked about it a couple months ago when the media came out when originally he took the break. Oh, he's a hero. He's taking a mental health break. And I know I was a little bit hard on him, but like, hey, you got to bear down. You got to hunker down. Now's the time to get involved with the team, not, go run away for, whatever, how many weeks. But man, the mainstream media, just they make hockey worse when they do stuff like that. Like, who's that dork in Edmonton? It's always on Leon. Like, Leon, why are you in a pissy mood today? What's his name?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know his name. He's probably overweight, and he's probably got a he, him in his bio. Nobody cares. I hate the mainstream media. They make hockey worse.
I think they're going to be a better team for it. They were actually one of my picks to come out of the West this year, but I don't know what happened. Somebody threw a wrench in there.
It's a shame they're talking about trading him, too. Like, can you imagine trading your best player?
Well, him and Pettersson are both on the block, according to the rumors, if you believe that, but who knows?
I think they're probably going to trade Miller before Pettersson because, Miller's a little bit tough on all the guys. What would you do? I don't think you can trade JT Miller. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't.
I don't know what the answer is. I mean, like we talked last week about Demko, and it seems like the whole team has kind of adopted that very uninspired approach to the game right now. And I get it. When you're down and you're losing games that you shouldn't be losing, it gets even harder and harder to dig yourself out of that hole. I don't have the answer. If I had one of those, I would have gotten my team out of the 10-game losing streak that we had once upon a time. I don't have that answer. And I don't think the GMs do too. I think sometimes you just decide to mix it up because you have no other option.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Kind of flat first period, flat entire game when we saw them against the Jets, a week ago?
Yeah.
Uninspired, but hopefully they can get it together. I love those flying skate jerseys. Those black jerseys are beautiful.
I didn't like them in the 90s, but I like them now.
Why?
I don't know.
Did they change them? Is it different? Maybe different materials, different color combination?
Maybe. The jerseys have always evolved, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There was just something, I think it was missing a color. Mm-hmm. Just the red and the yellow on the black. It looks better now. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure they widened the logo. They crispened up the logo a little bit. I know you're not a big fan of the matted helmets.
I hate the matte finish on the helmets.
Yeah.
It's just like it looks dull with this incredibly sharp jersey. It's like almost kind of like dating in Vancouver. You get more 8s than anywhere else in Canada. You take a girl on a date and it's like, well, now she's on OnlyFans. You did the first part right, but then you blew everything with the second part of the equation.
Maybe they're trying to make them look like they're all wearing umbrellas, like the way you guys have to walk around in Vancouver in the winter.
It rains about 25 days a month. I love living there, man. It beats.
I know.
It beats minus 38 and freezing cold. By the way, if you haven't seen the video that we posted on Instagram the other day, Dave had this genius idea to go boiling cup of water, throw it up in the minus 38, minus 43 with the wind chill in Winnipeg the other night, and it instantly, I thought he was crazy. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought, well, that stuff only happens in Siberia. Instantly vaporized, no more water.
It works.
He was crazy. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's one of those cool parlor tricks that we have only here in the North. The true North. Strong and free.
Well played. You want to talk a little Jets news? Johnny Toews coming back to Winnipeg?
Yeah, is that happening? Have you heard anything? What have you heard? What do you know?
I'm not an insider. I feel like the rumors are
Come on, Pierre LeBrun, out with it.
Well, I'm not what, 40% body fat, but that dude is literally shaped like a pear.
Oh, listen. Pierre LeBrun is very good at what he does.
You know what's great? I actually really like Elliot Friedman. He gets a lot of heat. I actually really enjoy watching Elliot.
I miss his COVID beard.
Ooh. Who had the better beard, him or Jumbo?
Oh, well,
I like Jumbo without the beard better.
I think in retirement it'll look good on him. Anyways, back to what do you know? What do you know? Stay on topic.
Yeah, Johnny Toews, the Winnipeg boy, he did that interview with GQ Magazine talking about the comeback. The Jets have been saying, we'd love to have him. We'd be very happy to have him.
Of course.
And we touched on it last week, or might have been the week before.
Where do you slot him into the lineup, though? I mean, anywhere he wants is the right answer, but where do you put him?
Forget about that. Do you make him captain day one?
No.
You don't take it off Lowry and give it to Johnny Toews?
No.
3-time Cup champion?
No.
Come on, freshly single too,
No.
Johnny Toews?
No, I think you take the A off Neil Pionk, and I think Pionk could be happy to give it up.
What a name, Pionk.
Yeah, Neil Pionk.
But I don't know what you slot him in, though. Maybe he's a center. Who do you got for center? You got Scheifele?
Second line, you got Nemestikov down the middle, who's pretty good, but I think that would probably be interchangeable. I think second line. I don't think you mess with that Scheifele, Connor, Iafallo line. But you know what? Toews is a smart enough hockey player, and he's tenured enough that he could play the wing. He could move over easily.
Well, you bringing him in to produce, or you bringing him in for leadership, Captain Serious?
Everything. I think you bring him in for everything. Look, the fact that he's even considered to be part of the Winnipeg Jets, any team would take him, but the Jets would be willing to take a shot at him because, it's good. It's that whole hometown thing again. The Jets have always tried to keep a hometown boy on the ice in a jersey whenever possible.
How good would he look in that third jersey, the vintage Jets with the navy blue and the red? I know we saw that jersey against the Canucks, but how good would a Johnny Toews crazy good?
You just want to see that side by side of him as a kid wearing a Jets jersey that he got for Christmas next to the one now.
I want to see them bring back the 95 white Jets jersey, the one they wore for the last Jets 1.0 game. That was a beautiful white. They've changed the colors a bit. They're using cream and they're using a darker navy, but man, Johnny Toews would look really good in that 90s Jets colorway.
Or do you think? Did the Blackhawks even give him up? They could use some help, man.
Do they own him?
I'm pretty sure he has to go back to them. Does he not?
I think the contract expired.
So he's a free agent? He
can
go where he wants?
I think so. I don't know. I mean, you could have him with Bedard, but that team's a little bit of a dumpster fire. You got to bring him to the Jets. You got to bring the boy home. I think so. And we talked about too the whole reasoning why he's out of hockey, because he had the long COVID from the scamdemic from 2020 to 22. Came back and played some games, and then just vanished off the face of the earth. I know we talked about it, and Brad Richardson tells the story, but basically his longtime girlfriend, they've been together forever. She was giving him the old Gene Simmons, you marry me or I'm gone. He said, listen, I'm not marrying you, which is a smart business decision. As a pro hockey player in the NHL, you've won.
This is all speculation, by the way, just things that we've heard. We have no substantial, credible evidence for any of this.
But if you're in the business of playing hockey, you won 3 cups, you won how many millions of dollars, you've done basically everything you possibly can. You probably don't want to, risk yourself and, marry me or else. He says, I'm not doing it. She bounces, gets re-engaged 6 months later, and the dude was heartbroken over it. And we've both, as men, we've been through heartbreak. It's tough. You can't eat, you can't sleep. It's all you can think about. It's a very tough time, especially when you've been with somebody for so long, and it doesn't matter how many Stanley Cups you got. It hits all of us the same way. Again, we don't have the same software the women do, but it's tough, man. You got to feel for him. He's going through that whole what was it? You mentioned the retreat to India to try to work on some herbal medicine and whatnot. I don't know the specifics of it, but
look, here's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter who it is. If you have
it's tough.
A long-term relationship like that, I don't care if you're a male or female, what kind of relationship you were in, if it's that long and it goes south, it's you look at it like you got suckered into a bad investment. You know what I mean? Like you put all this time and effort into it, and then you look on yourself saying, did I believe in a lie? And you wonder if you can ever trust again. Like you go really deep into your own psyche about that kind of stuff. So regardless of who it is, that's never anything easy that I would wish upon anyone.
I agree, but men and women are different though. And can I explain the reasoning why women have such an easier time moving on compared to men?
Oh, I can't wait to hear this. Go for it.
Well, hear me out for a second. And this, I do believe this is the truth. You go back to the caveman days, because at the end of the day, we've had society for just a small fraction of human time. The caveman days are a lot of time. And back in the day, the men went to war. If the man died, the woman had to adapt because the man protected the woman. So she had to adapt to the warring tribe that won or move on in some way, shape, or form. So her software updated and adapted to, okay, I have to move on. And they're very equipped to do so. It's why, like with the Johnny Toews situation, marry me or I'm gone. No, leaves. Boom. She's engaged 6 months later and the dude's heartbroken in the dust. It's why women leave, 80% of relationships?
Have you not seen A League of Their Own with Gina Davis and Madonna and Rosie O'Donnell? That is a wonderful film. You are absolutely right. Women are amazing creatures and they adapt extremely quickly.
But we don't have that same software.
And we are just dumb knuckle draggers who can't figure it out. I think that's what you're saying. If I can paraphrase, am I right?
Well, to some degree, yes. Right? Well, think about it.
We are simple creatures.
The woman had to adapt. The man was dead. So there's no need to update the software because the software is no longer needed in the man, which is why we're so different. Why we process things differently.
And thank goodness we are.
So I had a divorce lawyer reach out. So our clip about Johnny Toews and the whole Sidney Crosby not wanting to get married thing popped off the other day. And so I had this divorce lawyer based out of like the GTA-ish area reach out. He says, listen, I do a lot of high net worth clients, specifically pro athletes. Here's some interesting stats for you. Of professional athletes to get married, within 365 days of them retiring, a divorce is filed. By the woman, by the way. Because again, the man says, I love you. The woman says, I business you. She marries the lifestyle. And sorry, go ahead.
I think I know where you're going. And I have some theories on why that is. I think it's a combination of things. Number one, I think it's the fact that more often than not, when man and woman meet in this scenario, when you're dealing with pro athletes, it's a very segregated lifestyle where the guy's on the road for 2 weeks at a time, 3 weeks. Like it's you get used to being apart for a while, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm retired. I got to spend all this time with you. And it's like, can you go on the road for a bit? Why do you think they started organizing the Old Timers tour? Because these guys needed to go back on the road.
Well, is it not kind of like you're dating a chick, and then you move in together, and now there's no breaks? You see the full masked version or unmasked version, if that makes sense. Is that not fair to say?
Yeah, I think you can draw parallels to that. I also think it's a situation where, you know, a guy retires from hockey. He takes a couple of years to be like, hey, I just finished putting my body through absolute hell. I'm going to not work out. I'm going to enjoy the luxuries that I have put aside for a period of time.
Enjoy the fruits of my labor. I got this money set aside, right?
Exactly. I have some time. I've got some money. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do for the next 15 to 20 years if I decide to do anything at all depending on how big the bank account is when I retired. And I think that's like you said, what is a man's worth? And if you're just kind of laying around doing nothing, I think that can become somewhat unattractive for the female. I can understand that. I think that when it comes down to it, and my wife and I have been through the ringer when it comes to my career, and we've been through a lot. And believe me, when I tell you, I know she is my ride and die, 100%. After everything that we've been through, there is nobody I trust more in this lifetime than I do her and her me. And I think that's what a lot of people are missing in this scenario, where there's a lack of trust as far as what's coming next. And if I don't know what that is, I'm out to something that's a little more stable. Well, and that could be on either side.
Well, and you know how skeptical I am of a lot of things. I will say that Dave is probably the exception to the rule. But just because there are some exceptions does not disprove the rule. And I think that when a woman marries a man who's a professional athlete, there's a certain expectation. And now, like you mentioned, you're on the couch. Oh, I'm just going to go golfing all the time. I'm going to spend time with the kids. That's not the man that I married. And a woman is always looking for the best option she can get. Men want as many as they can get. A woman wants the best that she can get. And when she sees that, it's no wonder why she's pulling the pin after 365 days of retirement. 70% of the time. And 50% of those happening within less than 1 year, which I find fascinating. But let me know in the comment section. I'm sure a lot of people may disagree. Some may agree, but...
Always curious to hear your thoughts. You can call our voicemail as well. There's a link down in the description as well.
Yeah, you can call the voicemail anytime you want. One question about relationships one story about relationships before we get off this one. Mike Piazza, you know who Mike Piazza is?
Of course, Hall of Famer with the Mets. He had some fantastic stare downs. Well, guy could hit unbelievable. Big fan of Mike Piazza.
One of the biggest hitters of all time, and he's a catcher too, right?
Yep.
He tells a great story on this topic. So 52nd all-time in home runs. Only 51 dudes have hit more home runs than him. World champion, all-star. As far as if you're a woman looking to cash in on getting a good guy and a successful man, I mean, good luck trying to do better than Mike Piazza. I'm sure you could, but it's going to be very, very difficult. He retired from the game after 20-some-odd seasons. First season off, he goes to lay down, take a nap. A couple minutes in, wife shakes his arm, like, what are you doing? I'm taking a nap. I've been playing baseball the last 20 years. I'm taking a nap. Well, that's not what you do. Come on, get up and go do something. She just had no sympathy for this dude. But that's just how women are. Right?
No, not women. That's the way she was.
In general.
That's the way that woman was.
Some women.
164 games of baseball per year. You get used to them being out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
She probably had the pool boy coming by. You never know.
Or the gardener.
Who knows?
Or the pool boy and the gardener.
Maybe.
Let the man take his nap. Man, there's nothing more ruthless than a woman that's unattracted to you. Bottom of the line, or more of the story, don't be unattractive.
Right. Know your worth.
Be attractive.
Be attractive.
Speaking of
to yourself first.
Speaking of worth, we got our cut of the week.
Okay.
Brought to you by Brisket Jerky USA. They've been a cut above the rent since 2022. Maple bacon jerky, the trail mix, popcorn, you name it. You got a cut of the week?
Oh, I do. This happened just a few nights ago. The rat was back at it again. Ooh. He was gnawing at the cheese. And look, I understand that Brad Marchand... I gotcha. See, I didn't even write that one ahead of time.
Gnawing at the cheese.
Brad Marchand, I get it. Stanley Cup champion, captain of the Boston Bruins. He's probably a first ballot Hall of Famer, but the guy's a rat. He's made a career on being a rat, and he was doing rat-like things again against the Ottawa Senators. This dude has done everything from lick people to just horrific things. But this is a new one. I had never seen this one before. He goes over to the bench in between the two benches, pulls his glove off, and goes with, not even for a full like rear naked choke, just like a larynx choke. Like he went in to be like pull out the guy's voice box.
He's going for a pressure point for the Vulcan grip.
Yeah, I mean, what are you doing? I mean, I understand you're trying to get him off his game, but I don't know, man. Sean Avery. I mean, I understand Corey Perry's. I understand these people need to exist in the game. I get it, but there's a code. There's a code.
You don't like that?
No.
What would you do? Suspend him?
I don't know. I don't know what, because they've thrown the kitchen sink at this guy, and it doesn't seem to deter him at all. And I understand he goes in premeditated, so he knows what he's doing. It's just, I don't know. I hope one day I appreciate what he did, but it's just hard to.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, I'm now dealing with the fun police inside the studio.
There's nothing fun about choking a guy.
Yes, there is.
No, there's not.
You've done mixed martial arts before.
Don't you tell me about your fantasies.
You've never choked out a man in mixed martial arts?
Not in hockey.
Well,
not in hockey.
Well, look at McDavid and Garland. They were rolling around like they were Khabib, 27-0 on the ice.
Everything was fine until he decided to put his stick into his neck. But like I said, there's a code. I mean, look. We joked about what's his name down in Mississippi taking his skate off.
Oh, Joe Pace.
Right, Joe Pace. I mean that was because it was absurd. It was absurd. He was joking around. But I mean, do you have a line? Do you have a line? Is it choking? Is it taking your skate off trying to slap somebody? Where is it?
I said make hockey great again. Make it violent again. Hockey's gone soft. Look.
Bear wrestling at halftime.
Dave Wheeler's going to fight a bear at the second intermission. There will be no refunds given. But look at how soft hockey's gotten. You could basically drive to the net.
I don't want dudes choking each other and respond to it. Listen, you know what we need? We need some good choking.
We need more guys to earn the nicknames like Dave the Hammer Schultz. You're not nicknamed the Hammer because you're soft, right? We need more toughness, more grit in hockey.
We've got the Rempes. We've got the Reaves. We've got a handful of guys who are still making sure that hockey is still the top dog when it comes to toughness. We've got Alexander Ovechkin taking pucks. Coaches taking pucks off the noggin on the bench. We got guys over playing footy over in the Premier League who, if they even see a checkered ball heading towards them, they hit the deck like they get hit by a sniper. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's an argument as far as what the toughest sport is out there. You could probably argue lacrosse, but I don't think you need to go around choking guys on the side of the bench just for the sake of trying to throw them off the game. Give me a break.
Well, imagine, let's say we were married and we got a divorce. I'm
not imagining that.
Just pretend this for a second.
We're going from choking to marriage? Wow.
Minus the intercourse. let's say we were married and we got a divorce.
We're doing it for tax purposes.
For tax purposes. Let's say I took $100,000 out of your bank account. I just snagged it and you said, I don't want to be with you. I don't think that was very nice. I said, well, I never did any drugs. I don't drink. It's not that bad. But you took 100 G's out of the bank account. Hockey's going soft. I think we need to make it great again.
Where am I?
You're in my world, baby.
Let's move on. This got weird. Whew. I need a shower now.
I got my cut of the week. Oh. Can I join you? Hey, Will, you get some poo, fella?
As long as you get that Slangin The Bizkit underwear pattern sheath underwear. Who's your cut of the week?
I did start off the show by saying you are hung like a mouse, and we'll find out.
Well,
right?
listen, my penis did its job. I got 2 kids.
We got the DNA test back.
What's your cut of the week?
I got the Rempe State Building. Matt Rempe.
What a beauty.
He's got more ejections than NHL points. I liked the fight against Jack-Eye the other day. He said, you know what? I don't care if you don't want to fight me. We're going to go. He did toss him around a little bit, but I like that fight. I thought, though, the best fight of the year probably so far, Reaves and Olivier, Leafs, Blue Jackets.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. He spun Reaves around a little bit, got right back in there, and then I don't know if I've seen a fight where they're just in the pocket going shot for shot like that. I get it, not every single one is connecting, but that's probably got to be the fight of the year, Reaves and Olivier.
It looked good. It absolutely looked good. How about Jackson there? What is his name?
Jackson?
No,
Diamond Hands?
No, the X in front of his name with the Montreal Canadiens.
Oh, Arbor Jack-Eye.
Jack-Eye, thank you. Jack-Eye telling Reaves to stuff it, pointing at the scoreboard, and then they go and light him up for 6.
You know, I don't mind being up 3-0, saying, I'm not going to fight you. There's no need. We're winning. We're dominating the game. You tie the game up 3-3, and then you give up 7 unanswered. I think you got to go.
Well, like in hindsight, sure, but I appreciate what Reaves said after the game. I don't know if you can cut to that clip or not, but Reaves said, look, this is what we do. Sometimes your team needs momentum. He goes, I would have been happy to oblige if he would have asked me, but I don't owe him that favor anymore. Mm-hmm. And I thought the way he kind of laid it out, that goes back to the whole code of things. Mm-hmm. This is your job. Hey, I could use a little momentum here for my guys. Are you willing to go? Not point at the scoreboard. It's not like Jack-Eye put up any points on the board.
No. Does anybody even know you're out here?
Right.
Winnipeg boy as well, Ryan Reaves.
Yep.
Whole Reaves family. So
Dad played for the Blue Bombers.
He did. His brother played for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yep.
So that's a pro sports family right there. But
pretty cool.
If you had to start a lineup, 6 toughest guys of all time, who are you dressing? Goalie included, 5 guys and a goalie.
Well, Ron Hextall in that.
You go Ron Hextall over Emery?
Over Emery?
I'd go Ray Emery over Ron Hextall.
Why?
Because that dude's smiling when he's fighting Andrew Peters.
I'll take crazy any day.
Felix Potvin worked him, though.
Dude, they had to lock Hextall in the cage once upon a time when a brawl happened.
Because they didn't want Patrick Waugh getting to him.
They didn't want him getting to Patrick Waugh.
Who are you taking? You're taking Hextall over Waugh?
Hextall and net.
If you had a scrap, center ice, Hextall, Waugh, everything's even. Flyers, primetime Hextall, Avalanche, maybe Montreal Canadiens, primetime Waugh right before he went to the Avalanche.
Hextall, I'm taking the Manitoban over the Quebecois every single time.
That's true. He's from Brandon, Manitoba.
You bet he is.
Third coolest guy to ever come out of Brandon.
On the blue line, I got Scott Stevens and I got Rod Langway. And then I probably got Bob Probert down the middle with Joey Kosher and Ty Domi. That was an easy one. Jeez, I rattled that off quick. Who do you got? Who are you putting up against my guys?
Well, I would have gone George Laraque, but he voted Kamala last election, so you got to take him off the list. But I'm going to go. I'm going to go Ty Domi. Love Ty Domi, former Winnipeg Jet.
Mm-hmm.
Got to go Bob Probert.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Ryan Reaves. I like Reaves, big boy, heavyweight.
Okay.
On the back end, Dave the Hammer Schultz.
Nice one.
And off the board, going Daniel Diamond Hands Amesbury.
Okay.
Diamond Hands. You got to get him in there.
Well, listen, if we're going to throw in some obscure ones there, I'd probably throw Dave Babich in there as my...
What about Bufflin? I don't think we ever seen him really fight, but that's not a bad pick in there.
You know what? Again, I love Bufflin. I think he was an absolute dominant force. He just didn't care. I think that's maybe the reason why I wouldn't have taken Emery is that he had that I don't care attitude. He's like, I'm just here for the paycheck.
But he fought Brian McGrath, and he fought Andrew Peters. He fought so many, and he dummied Marty Biron.
There's another look. There's a lot of great guys we could have picked. That's obviously my all-star cast, but yeah, man, I don't think you could fill an entire lineup. I don't think you would have as easy of a time picking current players to fill a lineup like that in this day and age.
You got to dress that team for a team coached by John Tortorella.
Yeah, well, of course. Yeah, Tort's behind the bench for sure.
Tripping at the refs. Hey, fella, I've seen better refs at Foot Locker.
Because he's crazy, right?
Yeah.
You put the crazy back there. That's why I take Hextall.
You know, you got to have a crazy coach. You got to put Johnny Tortorella with that starting 6. I like that. That's a lineup you need. I like that.
Is that how you got the nickname Big T?
No. No, it's... No.
After your fight in Toledo?
No, we'll leave that off the show. Patreon exclusive. Sign up for the Patreon page.
When do you want to get to our voicemails?
Do you want to do some Senators goaltending real quick? Or do you want to,
Sure.
you want to do the Nedeljkovic goal?
Okay, voicemail coming up, though. Don't forget, you can call the voicemail, the link down in the description, and we're going to try and get to as many as we can.
Yeah. What do you think of the Nedeljkovic goal? A goal and an assist for a goalie?
I'm pretty sure it's the first time a goaltender's ever had a multi-point game in the NHL, and I think he is the first goaltender.
It's happened before, but no goal and assist. There's been 2 assists, but no goal and assist.
So, and also the first goalie to score in the East Coast American League and the National League.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
That's not bad.
That's pretty cool.
That's not bad, man. He went behind the net. I was kind of surprised. He stopped the dump in, fired it, flipped it up, pumped that thing harder than you and somebody else's mom on a Saturday night, and then fired it in the net. Crosby tapping his stick was like, my God, this dude cleared the blue line, got it in.
That thing was dead center.
Gave a flyby to the fellas. You can't blame him. You got to do a flyby if you score as a goalie.
Of course.
He got 40-plus saves, got the win, goal and assist against the stinky Buffalo Sabres.
Doesn't
Not
matter,
bad.
man. No pictures on the scorecard. I thought it was great. I loved it, and it's been a while since we've had one like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, we had Tristan Jarry scored, I think, the last goalie goal, and then Mike Smith, Pecorine, but it's been, I feel like we've been getting more the last couple of years. Goalies getting better at puck handling and whatnot.
Oh, absolutely.
But, yeah, I think
Except Stuart Skinner.
Oh, jeez. I think.
By the way, did I ever tell you my connection with the man credited with the first ever goal in the National Hockey League?
Billy Smith?
Billy
Yeah,
Smith?
he was crushing your mom.
No. My aunt.
Oh.
I don't know, one of the two. No, they're from the same area. And, they used to party in Messina. One of the callers that was on the voicemail not too long ago.
In New York, yeah.
Yeah.
Want to get to the call-ins now?
Sure.
Let's do some voicemails. By the way, if you missed it, call in. There's a link in the video description. Call in anytime, any place, whatever you want. Honestly, I'd love people to call in with their relationship issues. I wouldn't mind trying to diagnose that with you and seeing where we get with that.
Okay, I'm just going to get straight to the point. I think your show is a toxic dump heap. Everything that's wrong with hockey and sports and seemingly life has a safe haven on Slangin The Bizkit. I mean, it's not the differing
Like what?
opinions in and of themselves. I've never had a problem with differing opinions,
Sounds like you
ever.
do.
But the problem is when those differing opinions are so off-base and so chock full of BS, that's
Like
where I
what?
start to have a problem with it. And the dangerous misinformation that's been expressed on Slangin
Like
The
what?
Bizkit over the years multiple times, that's not good. That shouldn't be on any show at all. And when there is a good point expressed on Slangin The Bizkit, and it is unusual, it's
Is it?
expressed in such an arrogant, condescending, and incredulous manner that defeats the whole purpose of even having a good point to express in the first place. I mean, there are some areas of life where you should not be stuck in the past. I mean, it's
Like what?
2025. It's not 1979, okay?
Like what?
And of course, you're right in line with your contemporaries when it comes to this sort of thing, like McAfee, like Biz, like Emsbury, like True. And not a good example being set to the young people who may be listening to the show and thinking that's the way to do sports media.
Why are you
And
telling
it's
people how
not.
to enjoy
It's
things?
absurd, okay? Absolutely absurd. And I feel sorry for all the folks out there who have become fans of your show who've, quite frankly, been seduced, been bamboozled in becoming fans of your show. So I hope it all works out for them. And look, I know you're not going to change the show just because I say you should change it. You're not changing it for anybody. That's clearly obvious.
Doesn't sound
But
like
I
you
would
enjoy the
suggest
show.
changing your audience. and that audience should be changed to an audience of one. See ya.
That means one of us has to stop listening to the show.
No, I think he wants to be the only one that listens.
Oh, so only he listens, but he wants
Right.
us to change the show.
He listens to the show.
Yeah.
He will vet it, and he will let people know what parts you can and can't listen to. So he basically wants to act as the Canadian Broadcast Standards Council.
I was going to say, I think he's more of a CBC viewer. Maybe this isn't the show for you.
Hello there. This is Brendan Arsenault from Fredericton, New Brunswick speaking.
Hey, Brandon.
So I'm thinking to myself,
Okay.
is Connor Hellebuck the MVP
Yes.
of the 24-25 season?
Yes.
It'd be amazing. He'd be on the Carey Price Mount Rushmore regime. And is this the year that finally, after 32 years, will a Canadian team hoist the Stanley Cup after so very long?
Well, it's only been 21 years, dude. The Flames won in 04. They got robbed in that OT goal against Happy Bullen.
I think, and I know what you're going to say, the Oilers have the best chance. I know that's what people are thinking right now. I think the Winnipeg Jets edged them in goaltending. I know Hellebuck didn't have the best start last year in round one against the Avs. I think this year is the Winnipeg Jets' best chance to be that team to break the curse.
If they get past the Avalanche, agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, I have 2 hockey-related questions.
Oh, hi.
The first one is, why does the referee sometimes let the players fight and then sometimes they don't?
Good question.
And then my other question is, why do the players change out so frequently? And is there like any rhyme or reason to it, or is it just random who gets put out to play?
Quick shift.
Thank you.
Quick shift. Keep it situational. Thanks for the call in, by the way. Yeah, depending on what you need. You need a power play, change out, put in the power play guys, put the PK guys in. You need a quick forecheck. You need to change momentum. You need to have a fight, throw out your fighter. All situational. It's a great call in, by the way.
And when it comes to letting them fight, I think if they can get in there before it happens, they're more than happy to. But if they get there a little late and the gloves are already up and they're already squared off, they're going to do more damage than good getting in the middle of that.
She asked about the quick shifts too. It's just like Dave on a Saturday night. Quick 30-second shift, get in, get out, back on the bench.
You don't need to be out of there more than 45 seconds.
15.
45 is good.
Trav, love the show, man. This comment comes from a place of love. I just want to say this is way better when you're actually playing hockey on a team. So, like, I don't know if you need to just challenge people on the street or just do like a men's league or pickup or something, man. You got to do something, man. It's way better when we play hockey. I know you're a show host and all that, but like we enjoy seeing your hockey content as a goalie. So please make more of that, you know, man, and hope you get an offer soon. But yeah, that's it.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. I'm not done hockey. I'll still keep playing like different native cash prize tournaments and travel stuff. But yeah, I enjoy playing too. Don't get me wrong. I love it.
I'll be honest with you. I love what you did with Brody True, and I would love to see more hockey. And this is a call out to all other hockey podcasts and all other hockey players that do podcasts. If we, and I'll say that as a community, if we can start collaborating the way golf YouTubers are, because they are getting it figured out, and they're getting it figured out real quick. Between the Good Goods and the Grant Horvats and the Brian Bros and Bob Does Sports, they're figuring, the Bryson DeChambeaus, they're figuring it out. They're collaborating, and they're all riding each other's coattails and bringing really solid content to YouTube. And I think hockey is already behind the eight ball. I think there should be more collaboration.
I'd love to challenge anybody to a hockey duel.
I'll throw the skates on. Sure. I know no one's asking, but I will.
Just don't make sure that he's not skating to his right side.
I'll do it.
He's only got one eye.
Hey, Trav, it's Derek in Richmond calling.
Hey, Derek. Richmond, Virginia or Richmond,
Just
BC?
wondering.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, you got to specify, Derek.
Call back, please.
You said in the comments of your last video that we're on this earth to reproduce. But
Yes.
you don't have very much sex. You don't have any kids. I actually showered with you back in the day, and you don't got much going on down there either, eh? Have a good one, fellas.
Thanks for calling. It sounds more like an opinion than a question, but I like that.
Love it.
That's funny.
All right, you want to wrap this up?
Yes, this is Slangin The Bizkit. I'm Travis Ridge, and that's Dave Wheeler. Thanks for listening. Hit the subscribe button for more episodes like this. We have a YouTube Clips channel for all the hits. If you don't have time for the full-length show, we are on Rumble. We are on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Dave runs Twitter, so if you talk to the Twitter, you're not talking to me. If you talk to the Instagram and TikTok, that's me.
We're working on a MySpace page. Just be patient.
Thank you for watching, and we will see you next Sunday because we do new episodes every single Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 in the Prairies, Winnipeg, and Saskatchewan, 9 in Calgary, Alberta, and Edmonton, 8 in the Pacific Northwest. Thanks for watching.